Hey everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to another Facebook Live on a Friday. Sorry I missed everyone last week. Last Friday, it's kind of hectic. It was supposed to be more relaxing than hectic, but my wife and I were supposed to go down to Boston for a nice weekend away, nice little break, and we're in the process of doing that. My son happened to get sick and he had to have someone to come pick him up at school, but we weren't home because we were supposed to be down in Boston. And so it was a big hectic mess, as these things always tend not to be when you have kids. So it all worked out. We eventually got down there. Some lovely family members that helped us out in this situation. So that was nice. But it kept me from doing my planned Facebook Live because I was just too stressed out from having to do all that stuff. So just too much going on. So it didn't work out last week, but back this week. And been a fairly good week for myself. There was a podcast that I was recently on called the Joe Health Show. My friend Jonathan Guyman hosts, and he asked me to be on last week and talk about fat loss and all things fat loss, and also talk a little bit about my fat loss experiment that I had recently published about on my blog. So if you're interested in that topic, which a lot of people are, especially around this time of year, I suggest you check out the Joe Health Show. You can find them on Facebook, on Instagram, and there's a link to the podcast I was recently on. Also, if you check out my Facebook page at RJB Health Coaching, as well as my Instagram page, you'll see I reposted that link as well, so you can find it there as well. But check that out if you're interested in that. This week, this Facebook Live on Friday, I wanted to talk a little bit about when less is more, and when trying harder can actually be detrimental to you achieving your goals. So we're kind of in the middle of January here, and people are hopefully still sticking with their New Year's resolutions. And, this is the point in time where if things aren't going very well, that people often get frustrated, and they're like, well, I'm going to double down on my efforts and I'm going to do XYZ even harder, right? Maybe, your New Year's resolution was to lose weight, or your New Year's resolution was to get to the gym, 5 days a week. Maybe it was to meditate every day. Maybe it was something else. Our first instinct when things aren't going as planned is, we get down on ourselves. We then try to correct course by putting a little bit more effort into it. And then when we don't see the results that we want from you putting even more effort into it, well, we say, well, this is just not working. I'm just going to give up, right? And that's what we're trying to avoid, right? We don't want to give up. And I know it's frustrating sometimes when you do put in more effort and you don't see the results that you want. But there are a couple of things to keep in mind. Is that sometimes it's necessary to do less and to try less, and to not be as hard as on yourself in order to see the results you want, right? So say you are you're training and you want to, by the end of the month, you want to run, be hitting a 10 minute per mile pace, which isn't terribly fast, but maybe you're new to running and that's your goal for the month. It's approaching the end of the month and you're still, way off that pace, and it seems like you're never going to get there. Well, if you're already running, 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, and still not hitting that pace, adding in another day of running, or running even faster, or doing 2-a-days or something even more, adding more onto your plate is probably not going to get you to your goal any quicker or faster. And it actually is probably going to hurt yourself because you're going to get tired, you're going to get burnt out, you're going to get frustrated that you're putting in more effort, and you're not seeing the results. You're going to possibly injure yourself, and then you're really not going to be able to achieve your goal. And it's just going to set yourself up for disaster. Instead, when you're not seeing the results you want, I suggest that you take a step back, and maybe take a break, right? Maybe you go down running 1 or 2 days a week, or you just take a week off from running and allow your body to recover, allow your mind to recover, allow you to reframe your goals. And remember that, unless someone is holding a gun to your head, that hitting a goal by a specific date is not, going to make or break anything. You can move that date out and be flexible. And in fact, I really suggest that you don't put like a time frame on your goals. You just, take it maybe a couple weeks at a time and see where you're at after those couple weeks, and then adjust and change, and then go for a couple more weeks and then adjust and change. And actually, this is a very common concept in software engineering, which is where my background is, where we oftentimes will have a big project, right? We assign, we all pick up specific tasks that we want to accomplish as part of that project. And we'll work on those tasks for a few weeks. And as we work on them, those tasks may change, or we might find more problems, or we might come across something that really changes the direction we might be going in. Our business requirements change. But after a few weeks, we stop, we readjust, we review everything that we've done up to this point, and then we either change direction or we keep on going the way we were. And maybe it's minor changes, maybe it's major changes, but we should do this with everything, whether it's a weight loss goal, a performance goal, a meditation goal, or whatever your goal may be. So, instead of, trying harder, putting in more effort to get to your goal, restricting calories more, restricting carbohydrates more, or adding in more protein, or lifting more weight, or running faster, or just more, we should instead do a little bit less, right? And take that time to do a little bit less, allow us that time to reflect on what we're trying to achieve, what progress we've made up to this point, what has worked, what hasn't worked. And from a very objective mindset, decide how you want to change things to get back to your goal, or to change course, or to get back on track, or just, make more progress in the direction you want to make. Maybe everything's been going smoothly, and that's fine, right? But you still might want to take a step back and look at what you've done up to this point. Is it sustainable? Is it something I can do long term? What problems do I see with the current methodology that I'm using to achieve my goal? And possibly adjust and make it something that you can sustain for a long period of time. Because oftentimes these health goals are things that we want to have in our lives forever. So we need to have a sustainable approach to it. We need to be forgiving to ourselves, and we need to constantly be taking a look at what our goals are and how we're striving to achieve them. And then, are we making progress in the right direction? Are we not making progress? And then make the necessary changes that we need to make to get there. And a lot of what I do as a health coach is to help guide people in trying to provide that objective opinion to them, right? I could take an objective look at what they're doing, the progress they're making, or maybe the progress they're not making. And we can try different things. We can adjust, we can take things out that might not be working, add things in that are working, or just slow things down. Maybe we're focusing on 3 things and that's too much, and we only need to focus on 1 thing at this time. And just readjust and give that extra perspective, as well as the knowledge that you might need in order to get to the place that you're trying to go. And this is always a learning experience. So my goal is to teach you how to do this yourself, so that you don't need me forever. And it's always about educating you, as well as just telling you what to do. So I want my clients to leave the session learning something new and having a different perspective and knowing how to take what they've learned and apply it to their own lives moving forward. So yeah, that's my message for this week. I hope everyone is having a great January so far. And if you've made some goals and you're trying to achieve them, I hope you're making great progress. But if you're not, like I said, remember, take a step back, readjust, take an objective approach to what you're doing. Don't try to double down on what you're doing and adding more stress and more problems, because that's likely probably not the issue. You probably have all the motivation and effort you need at this point, especially early on in the game. So take a step back, take a break, take an objective look, ask someone for help, and see what they think, and change and adjust. And with that, I'll talk to everyone next week. As always, get in contact with me, leave comments here, share these posts, Facebook Lives, to people that you think might find them useful. Reach out to me via Facebook Messenger, or direct message on Instagram or email, or head to my website and book a consultation, whatever you want. Always happy to chat. So with that, I'll talk to everyone next week, and have a good weekend.